Welcome back to my channel. This is your coach, Mr. Magnifico. Okay, on this lesson, we're going to look at something called coordinate planes. This is Module 6, Lesson 10 from the Eureka model. And when you're doing these activities, all you have to do is follow directions. So let's look at the first direction. Use the coordinate plane below to complete the following tasks. So this is my coordinate plane. Okay, but one of the things I noticed that it's not labeled completely. So I'm going to label the x-axis and the y-axis. And now I'm going to look at the scale. So the scale will be something here. Let me just get a calligraphic pen so it's thinner. There's another marking over here, so that should be half. This is 1, so this is going to be 1 and 1/2. 2, 2 and 1/2. 3, 3 and 1/2, and so on and so forth. So make sure you always complete this, find out what is the scale is, because when you know the scale, then it's easier to plot the numbers. This is half, that's 1, this is 1 and 1/2, 2 and 1/2, 3 and 1/2, 4 and 1/2, and 5 and 1/2. Okay, now that we have that in place, it says construct line P represents the rule X and Y are equal. So let's see if it's true. So it says the line P represents that rule that X and Y are equal. So that's the rule. So let me check. So if X is 2, there you go, then Y is 2. So that is correct. I already checked that one and it's true. So now that's my mistake. That's not the one. A. So I solved the A already. I checked that to see if this is true. Now it says construct a line D there that is parallel to line P and contains point D. Okay, so there's a point right here. They already gave it to me. So if I can picture the line is gonna go in this direction because it has to be parallel to this one. And parallel lines, just to review a little bit, parallel lines never meet. They can be diagonal, horizontal, or vertical. Okay. In this case, so I know that another point that we need right here for that line D has to go there. So this is how I know the line goes there, because it has to cross all those points and it has to be parallel to P. So now, I built that one right there, and it just is the only thing that is asking you is to draw it or construct it. Now, our next step says that we name 3 coordinate pairs on line D. So this is line D already. Let's find 3 coordinate pairs. Oh, let me label this. So on line D, which is this one right here. Okay, so there's one point, here's another point. So now I'm going to get the coordinate planes for those. Okay, so this one meets right here, and this one meets all the way down here, and the X, oops, I don't know what the mess is around here, but let me clean it up. Then the next one is right here. So now I have my points. So if I look at this point, this is going to be, let me move scroll this up a little. This point is going to be, the X is 3 and the Y is 5. So I'm going to write him over here. X is 3, Y is 5. My next point is going to be right here. This is the one. So this is going to be, I'm going to put an arrow. So it's going to be 2 and 1/2 for X, and for Y is 4 and 1/2. 4 and 1/2. Let me write this on these points. 2 and 1/2, and the y-axis is 4 and 1/2. And my third point is going to be this one right here. No, not that one. This one right here. So x is 1, so I'm going to write here, x is 1, and y is 3. So that's my third point, and I'm done with this requirement. Now it says, identify a rule to describe line D. Well, to do that, you have to look at the numbers. If this is 3, if x is 3, 5 is, and y is 5. So I notice that y is 2 more than 3. Let's see if this is true. This is 2.5. If you add 2 more to that one, it will be 4.5. So it is true. Y is x equals, okay, my apologies. So it's y equals x plus 2. Let's see if the rule applies right here. So if x is 1, y has to be 2 times bigger than 3, and that 2 times bigger than 1, so that's true. So here's what the rule would be. Y equals x plus 2. Okay? Or we can make another rule based on x. So x is always 3 minus 2. So we can write like this. X equals y, which is y is, this is y. So you can see why I'm saying that. Y. So it's x equals y minus 2. And that will give us x. So you can make two rules on that area. Now it says construct a line E that is parallel to line P and contains point E. So if I look at this point E, I know parallel means it has to stay that distance from that line. So the other point will be right here because it's staying the same distance right here, same distance, and so forth and so on. And if you go down this way, you can see that there's the same distance from here to here. So that is the line that is going to be parallel. And that line is called, let's see, construct line E. That's going to be E. All right, my friends. Now it says, okay, so now that's it. So now they want us to do the same thing. Name 3 points on line E. Okay, so line E will be, let's name 3 points. Let's make it, here's one. That's going to be x is 3.5. So remember, x goes first, y is the second number, the second coordinate. So x is 3.5, and y is 2.5, 2.5. Now let's look for another point. How about here? 5. When x is 5, y is 4. So when x is 5, y is 4. Now we need one more point. And just to want to make it easier, let's do this point right here. So when x is 5.5, then y is 4.5. So when x is 5.5, then y is 4.5. Okay, we have our 3 points right here. Now it says name 3 points on the number line. Oh, my apologies. This answer goes right here. Now we need to identify the rule. So all you got to do is, if you look at the difference between x and y, notice that y is 1 less than x. So we can write the rule that way. So we can say that y equals x minus 1. There's a minus. So you will write the y right here, minus 1, that will equal 2.5. The other way that we can do it is we can say that x equals, okay, so this is x, and this is 4. This is y. So x equals 4 plus 1, right? Well, that will be this one. So instead of writing the 4, I'm going to write the actual letter that needs to be here. So that the letter is Y. So that's the second rule. Identify a rule. So there is the rule again. I answered this question here. Okay, my friends. So this is part of this plotting numbers on this number line. And we have just a couple more questions right here. It says compare and contrast lines D and E in terms of the relationship to P. So if I compare them both, I compare lines D and E in terms of the relationship to P. So let's see where P is. P is in the middle, so that's the one in the middle. So we can say that lines D and E are parallel to P, period. So now the last question is write the rule for a fourth line that would be parallel to those above and would contain the points 3.5 and 6. So if we look at this example here, we know that this is X and this is Y. And we know that Y is 3 more than X. So there is your rule right there. So we will write Y equals X plus 3. Now, let me demonstrate this one. I have not demonstrated this on the other problems, on the other lines. So if I use that one, I know that X is 3.5. So it's going to be 3.5 plus the 3. So now we know that Y equals 3 plus 3 equals 6.5. And this number has to match this number, which is not correct. So the rule doesn't apply. So then it is not 3, it is 2.5, because we have to take away 1/2 from here. So that's what you do when you play with this problem. So now we know that it's not 3, it has to be 2.5. So we're gonna rewrite the rule. Y equals X plus 2.5. So now we're gonna apply this again. So if we use X, Y equals, we're gonna write X, which is 3.5, plus 2.5, which is part of the rule. Here's the rule. Then when we add this up, Y becomes 3 plus 2 equals 5, and half plus half equals 1, which equals 6. Now we know that Y equals 6. And this has to match this. So as you can see, it takes time to find the rule, but you have to persist and be determined. My friend, signing out, your coach. This is your lesson for today. Enjoy it, review it, and learn it. Signing out, your coach.